you, of course, and all the cafe team. In any case, let me start my speech and not warble on. So first of all, dear everybody, it's such a pleasure and such an honor for me to speak with you today at the 4th International Cafe Conference. Being here with you is deeply personal to me for so many reasons. As a disabled woman in football, with much of my own personal quest and career over the last 20 years being dedicated to the incredibly important work you all do to raise the bar for disabled people in football and other sports day to day, it's great to see how the Cafe Conference has become an important landmark, an international event on the calendar for advocates and experts across this field. And of course, I have a very personal history with Cafe, as Joe has mentioned, having been proud to found the organization back in 2009 and to see it extend its work not only across Europe, but more globally. Of course, that work was based, and the mandate that I was given was to extend the great work being done by Level Playing Field within the UK. And I can't let this opportunity go by without taking a moment to remember my dear friend, Gary Deards, who played such a pivotal role in progressing much needed improvements for disabled fans in football across the UK. Thank you, Gary. I know you'll be watching today. It is a delight to see how Cafe has evolved over the past years, with some of the original team still involved and leading this great organisation to ever greater heights. A special thank you to my dear friends Joe, Michael, and Amy, and to everybody involved in establishing Cafe and all the great work it is now doing as a leading international entity. And a special thanks, of course, to the board, to Mark and all of the board members. I know the dedication that takes as well to give up your time and to drive forward change and to support this amazing team. So I, of course, handed the baton on to Joe and the team in November 2016 to take on a new role in international football at FIFA. An offer, honestly, I just couldn't refuse. With the chance to help shape new FIFA and to help ensure that inclusion and accessibility are at the heart of all we do, while also knowing that Cafe was in very safe hands. After spending more than 3 years as FIFA's Chief Member Associations Officer and overseeing the implementation of the new FIFA Forward Development Funding Programme, I was delighted to accept my new mission as the first ever Chief Social Responsibility and Education Officer at FIFA in September 2019. The work as Chief of the Member Associations Division gave me the opportunity to learn much more about what is being delivered in regards to social responsibility, inclusion and accessibility in football across FIFA's 211 member associations. I saw a lot of great work and projects being implemented by dedicated people across the game, but we all know that there is still much more to do to ensure accessible infrastructures and services at stadiums, headquarters, workplaces, training centres, and much more. To ensure equal access to football for disabled fans, players, and importantly, to also ensure job opportunities, successful careers, and leadership positions for disabled persons in football too. We make up more than 15% of the world's population. All of us here know that well. That's a huge talent pool, and I'm certainly very proud to be the first disabled gay woman on FIFA's senior management board. My work isn't finished here yet, and I very much hope that I'm not the last disabled person to hold a senior leadership role within the FIFA administration. It's well proven that organisations with diverse boards and decision makers are smarter, more inclusive, and more successful. That's a matter we take very seriously here, and we are working hard at FIFA to ensure that our decision-making bodies and our administration are truly inclusive and diverse. We have made good progress, but we also appreciate that we have more to do. In my current role, I have the privilege and the responsibility to actively shape what is being done to remove the barriers that still exclude us and to create ever more opportunities for disabled people. At FIFA, we also work hard to ensure that we set the bar high across all our own competitions and programs, as we rightly should. And on that basis, require, incentivize, and encourage others to do the same. There is no doubt that sport can be a unifying force and a driver for social change, and I witness that every day in my work. But it is equally true that so much more can be done if we all step up, work together, share our expertise and know-how, our mistakes as well as our successes, learn lessons, and so by strengthen our collaboration still further across our beautiful game. In that respect, I am extremely pleased to know that today's conference is not only attended by civil society experts, but also by some of our own confederations and member associations, as well as other sports. I'd like to run through our main areas of work at FIFA very briefly to make sure that global football is truly ever more inclusive for disabled people. Our work in that respect can be separated into 4 interconnected areas. First, we are working to ensure our events and competitions are accessible for all, from disabled fans to officials, staff, volunteers, guests, media, and everybody else involved. Our second priority is to promote the building of accessible infrastructures and provision of accessible services across FIFA's 211 member associations. We have a unique opportunity through the FIFA Forward Development Funding Programme to promote accessibility and other social topics to incentivise member associations in their projects and works that are funded by this programme. And we are so pleased that with our support, CAFE is also engaging with our member associations and confederations directly in this regard too. Third, we have recently started a project to promote and help grow disability football more globally around the world, working with para-footballers, coaches, and other experts to help us to better promote and grow the disability football games still further across the world. And finally, we are taking steps to make football a more welcoming work environment for disabled people. This has started by reviewing our own hiring processes, encouraging applications from disabled people, and ensuring that our workplace is truly inclusive. We are committed to looking for additional ways to work with CAFE and its partners to promote disabled people across the football industry. Given that our next major tournament is drawing closer, let me speak a little about the preparations for the FIFA World Cup Qatar 2022. Our ambition is that this World Cup will not only become the most accessible international sporting event so far, but that it also leaves a lasting legacy for disabled people in Qatar and the region by raising the bar on accessibility and disability inclusion across the country. In fact, members of my team are currently in Doha working at the FIFA Arab Cup, and I am due to join them next week. This is a great test event for next year's FIFA World Cup, of course. As part of that event, the team is working with entities across FIFA to ensure that disabled fans have barrier-free access to the stadium and match services and receive, wherever required, assistance from specially trained volunteer teams. The stadiums are designed with FIFA's accessibility requirements as an integral part of the planning process, and these requirements are best practice standards. Members of my team in Zurich and our Qatar-based sustainability team are on the ground and present in all 6 of the stadiums that are being used currently for the FIFA Arab Cup. Not only do we want to ensure that disabled fans at this tournament have a great experience attending the matches in the coming weeks, but also to provide us with valuable feedback and to ensure that we highlight and identify any areas where we still need to address accessibility and inclusion ahead of next year's World Cup. We are also operating a sensory room at one of the stadiums being used for the FIFA Arab Cup to allow for a comfortable environment at the games for children and adults with sensory needs. This is a first for any FIFA competition, and we intend to provide sensory rooms in 3 of the 9 stadiums used at the World Cup next year. In addition, we also offer audio descriptive commentary to enable blind and partially sighted fans to have a fully inclusive match day experience, and so much more. Finally, the Supreme Committee for Delivery and Legacy, our host partner in Qatar, is running a joint program with Qatari local disability groups, an accessibility forum that includes collaborations with the airport, public transport systems, the cultural sector, and much more, using the focus of the upcoming FIFA World Cup to enhance accessibility across the country, not only in preparation for the World Cup next year, but to ensure a long-lasting legacy for disabled people too. Lastly, I would like to focus on our important collaboration and deep friendship with CAFE. Throughout our work in this area, our collaboration with CAFE has been instrumental in ensuring that we deliver ever more inclusive and accessible operations at FIFA. Building on our experiences from the FIFA World Cup in Russia in 2018 and the FIFA Women's World Cup in France in 2019, we have been pleased to work with CAFE yet again to deliver audio descriptive commentary training and services in Arabic at the FIFA Arab Cup taking place now, and English and Arabic audio descriptive commentary for the FIFA World Cup 2022. CAFE is also providing our staff with proof of eligibility training and providing first-hand support to us in checking such proofs to ensure a fair and inclusive ticketing process. In addition, we have been pleased to assist CAFE in providing accessibility trainings to our confederations and member associations, a really important step forward that sees the wider game really respect and understand the deep knowledge and know-how that CAFE has. It is part of our work plan to further strengthen our engagements with CAFE and other expert organisations in this field over the coming years, and to help to strengthen those partnerships between our member associations, CAFE, and local disability organisations. Whilst all these operational programmes are critical, what matters most to me is to help forge a real culture of inclusion at FIFA and across football more widely. During my time at FIFA, I'm proud to have witnessed and helped influence a change in perceptions about inclusion, disabled people, and accessibility. I experience this on a regular basis. For example, when the team responsible for spectator services reaches out to ask us whether there is training they could attend on accessibility and disability etiquette, and when our translation services department asks for a glossary for inclusive language. In spite of all the progress, there is still a long road to travel in ensuring global football becomes a truly inclusive environment for disabled people everywhere. In particular, disabled people need to have full access to take their rightful places as administrators, leaders, and decision makers. If we ensure disabled people are not only able to enjoy, but also to contribute more and more to our game, there is no doubt that football will be stronger and better for it. Better governance, resiliency, innovation, growth, and true inclusion for all. Our beautiful game belongs to each and every one of us. My challenge in closing today is to ask that each of us here today, by celebrating this important event and all the great work of CAFE and its teams day to day, do something after this conference, just one more thing, to improve access and inclusion, whether it be getting the topic on the board's agenda, partnering with a local NGO, inviting new disabled communities to a game, giving your feedback on your experience to your club, or changing your human rights policy and practice so that you are more accessible and inclusive for anybody that is disabled and looking for a role in football or indeed any sport. So thank you so very much for inviting me today. It's very special to me to be back with you all. It means a lot. In closing, wishing you another highly successful CAFE conference, and from the bottom of my heart, a huge thanks to the CAFE team and to all of you for the important work you do each and every day. This work is not done. There is still so much more to do, and you can certainly count on the full support of the FIFA President, the Secretary General, me, and indeed all of us at FIFA. Thank you, and back to you. Thank you so much.